Very good evening to you. I'm Lisa Broom with the CBC Evening News. In our top story tonight, Finance Minister Chris Sinclair says government has kept its promise to policyholders of failed insurance company Cleco. He made the comments during a debate on the resolution to approve the issuance of a $220 million demand note to preserve policies and other investment instruments, that is, attached to Cleco.
We made that commitment as a new government coming in. It has not been difficult. It has not been easy. Has been difficult. Has been long. But we have stuck to our word to the people of Barbados and to the policyholders of Barbados. And we are happy. We don't look for kudos, Mr. Speaker, sir. We believe that this is what any reasonable, responsible, and sensible government would do.
Minister Sinclair says there are some $91 million in settlements as at September this year, and he predicts that by February 2018, the transfer of policies to the new company should be completed. The minister says a plan is already in place to begin payments to policyholders. The request has already been made to the Central Bank of Barbados to draw down the remaining funds over a 4-month period with a view to settling the approved claims and the backlog of annuity pension payments over the 4-month period immediately as the closing of the transfer, completed transfer of the policy portfolio to the new company Resolution Life. Housing Minister Dennis Kelman believes there is renewed interest in Speightstown, which, if properly nurtured, could result in meaningful development of the area. He was speaking in Parliament during debate on a resolution to vest Crown land located in Speightstown in the National Housing Corporation.
I can boldly say, sir, that during what people call a crisis, that business people in this country have suddenly recognized that it's not a crisis, but that there's a location now called Speightstown that is becoming very exciting. And I believe that if what we are doing here today, if the National Housing Board sits down and recognize what we are giving it, that they can find a meaningful partner to help drive the development of the North, because that activity has started already.
An enormous opportunity has been missed to continue the development of Speightstown as a center for heritage tourism. That assertion from former Prime Minister Owen Arthur, who says the area has a tremendous heritage that can be translated into assets for development. He adds that the intention was to have the Speightstown's potential realized through public-private sector partnerships. The independent member of Parliament made the observation during debate to vest that Crown land in Speightstown in the National Housing Corporation.
The Carolinians were developed from Speightstown, and in recognition of that relationship, a twinning relationship was established between Speightstown and Charleston, in the belief that folks could be brought annually from the Carolinas to St. Peter, Speightstown, in support of that relationship. I also went to Reading in England and signed a twinning agreement between the town of Reading and Speightstown.
Mr. Arthur also points to some investments in this regard which took place under his administration.
One of the most picturesque features of Speightstown in the past was the existence of jetties. Jetties were to become derelict. The administration that he led put in place an arrangement whereby a private developer rebuilt the jetty in Speightstown at no cost to the government, on the understanding that he was enabled to offset his verified costs against his taxes. The canalization of the salt pond in Speightstown was done by a private developer as well, under public-private partnership.
Well, City MP Colonel Jeffrey Bostic is convinced that Barbados has not done enough to exploit the heritage component of the island's tourism product.
all the research suggests that heritage tourists have the greatest spend in terms of tourism. And I believe that we need to do a lot more to include all of the heritage sites in Barbados, linking them, of course, to the UNESCO site, and creating something that is special, something that would generate a lot more revenue, and something certainly that would help with the development of our country.
In other news now, the Health Ministry is increasing the number of environmental health officers it deploys along the South Coast. It is also boosting its sanitization program, as well as enhancing education and training for restaurants and food businesses in the area. Now, all of this is in the hope of safeguarding the people who use the area as problems from the South Coast sewage plant persist. In a joint statement issued through the Government Information Service, the Barbados Water Authority said technical expertise and equipment should be in Barbados in the next few days to allow engineers to start the first phase of the corrective work. Describing the challenges in its South Coast network as complicated, the authority says over the long term, a complete overhaul of the plant will be necessary and additional overseas support will be needed. It has identified a major blockage in its pipes at Worthing Christchurch as a significant contributor to the current problem, and explained that the equipment being imported would allow its engineers to assess the extent of the blockage and determine how it could be cleared. In the interim, continuous monitoring is occurring and crews are in place to flush and sanitize all affected areas. We'll take a break here, and when we come back, we'll have more news for you. Stay with us.
By popular demand, Barbados Lumber Company, Waterford and Spikestown will be repeating their 20% discount store-wide sale this Friday and Saturday, and extended to Sunday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Waterford and 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Spikestown. Get in the Christmas spirit with 20% discount from Barbados Lumber Company this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Terms strictly cash. This offer does not apply to cement and already reduced items.
And we fat in the same way. What's up, is your orange haired songbird Nikita, a live up champion, encouraging each and every one of you guys to lend a helping hand to our Caribbean brothers and sisters affected this hurricane season. And remember to love, protect, and respect. Mwah.
Well, it's the season of shopping and giving. Well, that's how the story usually goes. However, this year, there appears to be some reluctance to spend this Christmas. So just how will this impact on businesses this Christmas? Here to share her thoughts is former executive director of the Barbados Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and now managing consultant of Lisa Gale Consulting, Lisa Gale. So Lisa, thanks for joining us this evening, and tell us what you're seeing so far in the business market.
Yes, right now, Lisa, there are quite a bit of advertising specials, there are offers, a number of deals, both within the retail sector as well as the service industry. We see a lot of, particularly in the banking sector, there are some very small, or shall I say low interest rates. And in the retail, we see a number of deals across the spectrum. So you see whether it's on vehicles, whether it's on clothing, you name it, furniture, appliances, you name it. We have quite a bit of specials going on right now.
But the specials are going on, that's fine, that's from the business end.
Yes.
But are we seeing people actually taking up these offers and spending?
Well, I did a little poll, and we heard from a number of consumers. Many persons are just a little reluctant, as you said earlier. And we also have a number of persons who continue to spend simply because they planned their spending. There's some persons who knew that they had a number of purchases at the end of the year, and they're now taking advantage of that. And then there's some persons who are doing what they can in this time, because there are a number of persons who are experiencing some economic challenges, personal financial challenges.
Right. Is this, especially the ones who aren't really spending, would that be a result of the NSRL? People have been saying that they will see an increase in prices and that type of thing. So Are they showing restraint because of that?
Yes, we have. Within the context of the poll, there were some persons who indicated that there is a significant increase in costs. Some costs that they would have seen earlier in the year are which I should just say smaller prices earlier in the year. They're now seeing these prices increase. And for that reason, they're being very cautious. And some consumers are also saying that the prices aren't significantly different. So we have persons seeing different things.
Right, that's interesting.
Yes.
So if you had to give people some tips on perhaps how they could stretch their money, or rather, should they be trying to stretch their money this year? Should they be looking to make these big purchases? Or is this a time where, you know, people should conserve money and looking forward?
At a time like this, I think people should continue to be careful, be cautious. Christmas is not only about shopping, of course. There's a bigger reason for Christmas. But there are some ideas which, for example, making cards. Let the children make the cards. Take a few photos and include those in your, do something that is much less expensive than just going all out. There are also some scenarios where you can await, do your shopping, or should I say if you want to do gifts, do some creative type gifts, gift giving. Or you can give your gifts later on in Christmas or later on in the season where we know that the prices drop a little bit later on after Christmas. So some people actually choose to do that for that reason.
So then it may be wiser in some cases to hold on to your money and wait for those after Christmas sales.
When you can. If you can afford something, I would encourage persons to be careful. But if you can afford something, you purchase it. If you know you can't, try not to put yourself under too much strain because there is... they say in January there's much more month than there is money. So you have to be very careful coming on to the end of the year and the end of the month following.
Are there any investment opportunities that you're seeing floating around? We
had only today. There are still some opportunities, like the insurance agents are still allowing you to purchase a few bonds, etc. Then there are there's a special name for it. The name has evaded me right now, but there are a few, but not as attractive in terms of the return on the investment. But some people are still going that route. There are people who give children gifts of $100, whether it is a credit union $100 account, or they give a small. It is an investment type feature, but the money doesn't go to the child. It doesn't go to the parent. The money goes to the child for that short time.
So do you believe that going forward we will see an improvement in Barbados in terms of how easy it is to do business? Because that's one of the major things that is being discussed right now.
Well, I was reading even in follow-on from the NSRL and the impact that that's having on the ease of doing business. And then we heard from the head of the private sector agency again today, Private Sector Association. The issue with the ease of doing business has to be addressed in a serious and frontal way. There are too many issues that continue to plague the Barbados system.
What are some of those, if you can lay out some of those issues on the table, what are some of them, and what, in your estimation, would be some suggestions to get them fixed?
Well, the big one, if we look at the last report that was done by the Ease of Doing Business, the efficiency of the tax system is a big one. That was not necessarily addressed in the Ease of Doing Business. They did talk about it in relation to the NSRL and the fact that the NSRL has added to the layer of challenges, in adding to that then the 2% tax as an issue. So you have more issues. But we have issues with processing goods. We have issues with the legal system. The Ease of Doing Business is a quagmire of issues. So you have the legal system, you have the payments. I was actually reading a report, the same Ease of Business doing business report, in 254 days to make it takes 254 days to make 29 payments in Barbados.
Wow.
That shouldn't be. So the Ease of Doing Business, to me, slows down the process of a business to be able to make more money. Because if you can move faster and get your things, moving on, remove those bottlenecks, then businesses can see a little bit more in their coffers.
What is the fix?
The fix is frontally addressing it. In my previous dispensation, I would have spent quite a bit of time doing reports and writing. So we have a series of, we already know what the issues are. It is now for us to address them. And don't say, oh, we are working on it, but put specific targets in place. So we want to address this one. Let's say it is the tax system. focus on the tax system, put a 24-month or a 18-month period in which we're going to address removing some of the bottlenecks within the tax system, so that tax administration can become a little easier and persons can easily, and it's just paying taxes in a quicker way and getting to pay the taxes faster. If we can get that one thing done and then fix something else, whether it is the customs, I know people talk about customs and the port, and we give a little slack oftentimes not knowing all of the details that go into the passage in terms of the logistics of goods. But if we can fix that you set a goal in place that you want to address the time so that everybody knows what they're expecting. Because many persons argue that it is not necessarily that the ease of doing business is a big issue, but they don't know what to do sometimes. So if you move the goalposts and then you have to go this place and then you have to go another place and then, oh, they came and they sent me here, all of those, people just need to know what the issues are. So put some protocols in place, allow the business people to know, and not only business people, but we have a lot of other persons who use the port, for example, to bring in, I think the barrel trade has been, the issues have been reduced to some extent, so that's one of them. But when you identify what your issues are and you address them, I think persons will be far more at ease with the ease of doing business.
Last thing, Lisa, what is your Christmas wish?
Oh, my Christmas wish is that more persons would know the true meaning of Christmas. Jesus came that we may have life and that we may have it abundantly. And the gifts that we give, we should be giving love, giving peace, giving mercy and love. That's what I think.
Thank you very much, and we wish you all the best for the season.
Thank you very much, and to you too.
Thank you. That is Lisa Gale, the managing consultant of Lisa Gale Consulting and the former executive director of the Barbados Chamber of Commerce and Industry. With Christmas fast approaching, Barbadians are being encouraged to remember the reason for the season. This advice from Minister of Culture Stephen Lashley during the opening ceremony of the annual Christmas in the Square event. We have more in this report.
The usual hustle and bustle has begun as Barbadians prepare for what is for many the most anticipated time of the year. But in the midst of the Yuletide season, people are being cautioned to focus more on family and helping the less fortunate rather than on the commercial aspect of Christmas. This advice from Minister of Culture Stephen Lashley.
Christmas is about joy and peace, but it is fundamentally about the birth of Christ and what that did to humankind. And we should never forget that, even as we get involved in what has become a very highly commercialized festival. Sharing and caring must always continue to be the bedrock of the celebration of Christmas.
Minister Lashley made the comments during the opening ceremony of the annual Christmas in the Square event. The event, now in its 4th year, is hosted by the Royal Commonwealth Society of Barbados. During the ceremony, the High Commissioners to Barbados from New Zealand, Britain and Canada, along with the chairperson for the local branch of the Royal Commonwealth Society, declared the square officially open.
We declare the square is open.
As the lights on 88 Christmas trees were simultaneously switched on. There is a tree for each of the 52 nations which make up the Commonwealth, as students of several primary and secondary schools were tasked with decorating a tree by depicting various aspects of each country using recycled materials. Principal Marilyn Gamble believes the initiative benefits the children in several ways.
The exercise of using recyclable material to beautify the city in the form of tree decorations opens the creative minds of our children, who are the future of our nation. It provides an opportunity for research and the collection of valuable information with regards to the Commonwealth nations. It also has the potential to encourage entrepreneurial opportunities for some of our youth.
Patrons who gathered in Independence Square for the concert were treated to several seasonal selections by the Barbados Cadet Corps Band, as well as the Republic Bank Chorale. Sharika Griffith, CBC News.
Thanks very much, Sharika. Well, there's a charge tonight that some in society are trying to get young people to live up to unrealistic expectations and thereby placing an unnecessary burden on them. That's the view of Education Minister Ronald Jones. He shared it while delivering the feature address at the Graydon Sealy Secondary School Speech Day and Prize-Giving Ceremony. Now, he believes it's unfair to expect the children of today to behave the way youngsters did decades ago, particularly when the values have not been passed on.
We are asking our children to remember things that they were never told, to remember things that they were never taught, to remember things that they were never exposed to. Now, if I were born in this period, at this time, at the turn of the millennium, then I would get vexed with you, because you're asking me to be that which I was never exposed to. And therefore, it is grossly unfair, extremely unfair, to place on our children burdens that they are not to carry.
Minister Jones also makes the point that there have always been some deviant children with whom society had to contend.
The government industrial school was not set up in 1990 or 2000. It was set up long before these children were born. And why do you think it was set up? To become a museum? It was set up to deal with what we might now call in the vernacular hard years children. So ye hypocrites, not in here, who somehow remove the scale now from your eyes and place all of these burdens on our children, might have forgotten.
Still to come, a look at some of the stories making headlines across the region.
It's your favorite time of year again, when everyone is cleaning and fixing and painting. So, are you holiday ready? Harris Paints is celebrating 45 years of color. Get 45% off all Perma products, 30% off all Ultima Plus, and many more. Plus, for every $50 you spend, you get a chance to win a grand prize of $10,000 cash. You can also win one of 45 prizes of Farmer's Choice hams, gas and grocery vouchers, and Harris gift cards. Get holiday ready with Harris Paints, the Caribbean champion.
Simplify your life with the MyDigicel app. In just a few clicks, you can manage your account, top up and send credit, pay your bill, activate a plan, chat with an agent, and catch our special offers. It's a snap to use the app. That's right, and we did it just for you. It's MyDigicel.
My son had a drinking problem at college. I'm glad a friend suggested Al-Anon family groups. Is someone's drinking troubling you? You might be surprised at what you can learn in an Al-Anon family group from people just like you. Call 1-888-4-AL-ANON or go to alanon.org.
The relationships formed between politicians and gang leaders negatively affect the performance of police officers in Trinidad and Tobago. And that's according to the head of the Manpower Audit Committee, Professor Ramesh Diosaran.
To take a serious review, and we are not saying just a look, at the alliances between politicians, gang members, and so-called community leaders. The issue is serious enough because with that kind of alliance, you create a monster, an evil monster, that has turned into a Frankenstein, which put the security services and the public generally on the defensive.
Chairman of the JSC on National Security, Fitzgerald Hines, wanted to know how the relationships directly affected policing.
When you have these alliances, for example, in a specific case of engineering certain contracts for appeasing potential or current criminals, I think when the police investigate a crime committed by any one of such criminals, the police get either sidetracked or obstructed in several ways. That is, it is entering into a terrain that is almost untouchable.
The opposition leader in St. Lucia is doubling down on his aversion to the imposition of an airport development tax to finance the Uanora Airport project. He addressed the issue at a wide-ranging media conference hosted by the opposition yesterday.
On Tuesday and Thursday, both the lower and upper houses of Parliament debated and passed a bill proposing the tax aimed at facilitating.
I always knew you were dirty so-and-so.
What will people say when they see me with you? What if the congregation finds out?
I'm sorry, but you can't trust me. You can't repair with that.
You can't play with us.
Well, you hear she got the pox?
Rise above the ignorance.
It's time to kiss stigma and discrimination.
I say that for many reasons. Don't mind how the Prime Minister wants to sweep it under the carpet. Fact is, there have been serious questions regarding the development of the UNORA International Airport as configured by the last government. Fact is also, the government, even though they had imposed the airport tax, did not get the finance to begin the airport development. That is a fact. So the airport development tax in itself is not the end to the construction of the airport. There were other factors. We believe the government is going the wrong way. The government is incurring debt of about $500 million when they could get the same facility built without imposing any debt on the people of St. Lucia.
A Trinidadian chemical engineer has been remanded in Guyana on conspiracy charges related to his staged kidnapping.
35-year-old Sewak Miraj, said to be a chemical engineer of Trinidad and Tobago, denied all charges, which stated that on October 27 at Georgetown, he gave false information to the police stating that he was kidnapped and that his abductors had demanded $700,000 for his release. It is alleged that on the day of the incident at Madawini Resort on the Linden-Suzdijk Highway, Miraj conspired with two other persons to negotiate and obtain a ransom of $700,000. Miraj's attorney stated that his client was made a victim twice by the police. The attorney further stressed that his client, if granted bail, will be staying at the Marriott Hotel awaiting his trial. However, police prosecutor Arwin Moore objected to bail on the grounds that because Miraj is not Guyanese, he would pose a flight risk if given his pretrial liberty. Moore further noted that the two men who reportedly assisted Miraj with staging the kidnapping plot are currently on the run from the police. The prosecutor added that the two men were also blacklisted at the airports in Guyana and Trinidad. Miraj was remanded until November 16. As part of the plan to stage the kidnapping, Miraj allegedly told his parents and detectives that he had traveled to Guyana to attend an interview. Relatives of Miraj were contacted by unknown persons who indicated that their son was in custody in Guyana and a sum of money would...
The Child Protection and Family Services Agency is again appealing to Jamaicans to take part in its annual Take a Child Home for Christmas program. That program, which started 10 years ago, allows people to open their homes to wards of the state during the festive season. Manager of Public Relations and Communications at the agency, Rochelle Dixon, says the program was originally created for families with children in state care who were unable to accommodate them full-time, but over time it was extended to people with good moral standing, for example, those who have volunteered in child care facilities and would be in the agency's volunteer base. Now, people who are interested in taking part in the program are being asked to fill out an application form and must be 25 years or older. Dixon says a background check is done on the applicants as well as a home assessment to see the physical accommodation and amenities. If the requirements are met, the applicant is then paired with a child who they may host for a day or for the entire festive season. Well, sports news is up in just a moment, but first, here is a tip from Cooperators General Insurance.
This tip of the day is brought to you by Cooperators General Insurance Company Limited. Insurance the way you want it to be.
Drivers should be careful turning across oncoming vehicles to enter secondary roads, as the speed and distance of the oncoming vehicle can be easily misjudged. Cooperators General, promoting safety on our roads.